Good afternoon, guys. It is Sunday the 17th of November today. It's about 1:15 in the afternoon. Back down a small river, as you can see over my shoulder there. A small river that you can probably see by the colour is very up still, although it was actually in the fields yesterday. The reason I've come to this particular stretch, firstly, is because I'm desperate to get down here. If you saw the last video, you'll remember I mentioned a stretch that I'd just bought a ticket to. Well, this is the other stretch to the one I did in the last video, or there was clips of in the last video. And I really fancy to go down here, and it's actually in its banks and fishable. The other places I go, the other tributaries and the Avon, they're just in a right state at the moment. Absolutely horrendous. I took some footage over the road from my house. I mean, if you have a look at this, it's just crazy, isn't it? The place, we've been sort of 6-7 foot up. There's actually a boat up against a barbed wire fence in a field near my house. Unfortunately for the boat owner, he's going to have to get that sorted out. But the Avon is just literally, I mean, it's in the fields. I very rarely see it in the fields by my house, and it's properly in the fields. We have one field that's just completely underwater. But this place is fishable. Whether we'll catch anything, who knows? I haven't got a clue at all. I'm going to do my best though. With that being that, and as I say, you can see the colour of the place. Smelly baits, I think, would be order of the day. I've got some cheese paste. I've got some paste I've made from the Baitworks Royal Marine, which absolutely stinks. I have bought some maggots and worms with me, although I probably shan't use those. And of course the Old Faithful bread, which, although not really a coloured water bait, with a smelly feeder full of ground bait just above it, does seem to work reasonably well. So those are the baits, and the tackle I'll run you through shortly. But I think it's going to be a roving session. I'm going to have to seek out the slacks, because it's still properly banging through. I would also imagine there's lots of debris coming down in it as well, so I think it's going to be find the slacks and fish them, see how we get on. Well, we've had a bite. It was very rapid. Probably a roach or a dace, I would think. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all caught up. Fantastic. Well guys, third swim in. There we go, that's about that. Fab. Lovely pale looking chub. They all look very pale in this coloured water, but really pleased with that. Really pleased with that. First fish from a new stretch. Really pleased. That's fantastic. That was actually from the current. There's a nice steady pace in here. So tried literally first cast in the current. As I find a lot of these swims, it's the first 5 or 10 minutes. If you don't get a bite, time to move on. As I say, third swim in. We got one. Fab. Right, I'm going to keep him in the edge in the net here. It's very deep, and we'll see if we can't winkle another one out. Well guys, just got him rested up in the net. It's very deep margin in here, but only going to be another 5 or 10 minutes. If I don't get another bite, he'll be back, and we'll move on upstream. But I'll just run you through the gear before I cast back in. I've got my Advanta RVS Discovery River Ambush 7-foot rod, lovely and light, nice to carry around, nice for these intimate little waterways. Now I do have the lighter one of these as well, but with the current and the river as it is up and sort of swirling, I didn't want to bring the lighter one. So I've got the 1 3/4 pound with me today. Extra bit of length as well if I do need to put the tip up if I'm fishing sort of a slack on the far bank. Now I've coupled with that, it's a Nomura reel. Just bought this, saw it on eBay, fancied it. It's a Hiro FD, as I say, 2000 size, lovely little reel to put on here. Not too expensive either. It's got a lovely smooth drag on it, and as I say, I'm testing it out for this session. I've got a 6 pound line on there. I'm fishing a small Guru gripper feeder. This is 1 ounce, and that's just on a running ledger setup there with a run ring. Now this I've shown you before, but if you haven't seen the previous videos, what I tend to do is I tie my own hook links up. This is a 5 pound hook link made from Flurocarbon, tied myself, size 6 hook. I'm using bread at the moment. I carry a lot of these hook links with me that I've tied up with various different hook sizes on, just so I can change baits, you know, maggots, worms, etc. And it's very easy using this system. And what I've done is I've got a anti-tangle sleeve there, which you can see, mounted on the main line. Once again, as I said last time I did this, I can't remember who this is made by. I'll put it in the link down in the description down below. But I actually mounted that on the main line, as you can see. And the quick change element is a Drennan quick change bead there. It's the inner. Now that fits fantastically inside this tail rubber I've discovered. It's fairly stiff tail rubber, and it just it stops me getting tangles, and also, like I say, can really change this really quickly. And the actual low resistance run ring kit here is actually, it's a Korum bolt and run ring. I'm using it in the run setup here. It's got this bead here which is sitting just over the bottom of that tail rubber there. It sits really nicely. It's got this funny shaped bead there, as you can see. You can fish this so that that run ring will sit just over the top there, but you've also got the option of pushing that over the little ridge, and then it becomes a bolt rig. Not something I'll be using this session at all, certainly not for chub fishing, but you know, it gives me the option as and when, because my gear, this gear just stays set up all the time. It sits in the back of the car, so when I've got a spare hour or two, I can literally just grab my gear. This is all hooked up, ready to go, literally get to the river, bait on, and we're in. So I don't have to set up or anything like that. So it's set up so that I can fish, maybe for, certainly with this setup, for chub or barbel. So, as I say, he's recovering in the net down there. I'm going to have 5 or 10 minutes more in here, seeing as that's fairly quick, and see if I can't winkle another one out. I do find that quite often fishing like this, that you will get one fish, and 9 times out of 10 you won't get another one because you've disturbed the swim, and you know, I don't want to sit around for half an hour waiting for the swim to settle down again. So and you know, I'm not carrying a keep net or anything, so I don't want to keep him in there too long. Just give it, say, 5 or 10 minutes with him in the landing net, and we'll just see if we can't get another one. Well, there's nothing else in here, so I'll give it another 10 minutes. I can always come back because it's on the way back to the car. So I'm going to get this fella back and then we'll move on. Well guys, as you can see, it started to chuck it down, completely unforecast I might add, but sticking with it, and that's about that. Lovely fresh looking fish. We just dropped in here. I don't think it's actually a peg, it just seems to be sort of between pegs, but there's lovely slack on the other side. I just dropped in, and as I said earlier, you know, it only seems to take 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops really. If you're going to get a bite, you get one straight away. It's absolutely fantastic. Beautiful fish. No monster, but I'm not complaining. Right, let's say we'll give it another 5 minutes here, I think. Just see if his big brother's not down there, and then we'll move on. There we are guys, with a pristine looking chub. Fantastic. The cheesy garlic, ground bait and bread on the hook combination, it's working well. Fantastic. All these fish look very, very pale because of the colour of the water, but they're fighting well. It's great. Fantastic. So I've done a couple of more swims since we had that last chub, but nothing else, nothing doing at all, no bites. And as you can probably see, we're starting to lose the light now, so I'm going to call it a day at that. But I've really enjoyed that, really enjoyed that. I was in 2 minds whether to come with the rivers as they are, but you know, especially coming to a stretch that I don't know, that's this colour and up, I think that's a fantastic result, and as I say, I've really enjoyed that. Hope you did too. So I think next time you see me will be probably in the week. I'll get out on, I'm sure, one of the small rivers I've been on, because the Avon still won't be fishable. I'm sure these smaller rivers do drop quicker. But we're getting out in the week after work for a short session into dark. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, and I'll see you again very soon.